one of the most important lessons I think anybody who has ever tried to improve their lives. It is one important lesson that I think most everyone has experienced when trying to change some aspect is the clear understanding that it is a solo journey. And it's interesting because we usually know to some extent that we have to take this journey alone, and nobody can take that journey for you. However, I don't think personally I really understood how alone the journey would be. And so I have a question for you guys. Have you ever been asked by someone, what is it you do and why you do what you do? And you're being asked in a context whereby the people around you, that person has noticed that you have been putting so much effort in a certain area of your life, and they're probably curious to know what exactly you're doing and why you're doing what you're doing. And so you find yourself explaining that I'm doing this and this, and this is the reason why I'm doing this and this. And in your mind, as you're explaining, it makes sense for you. But you notice that the person who asked the question doesn't really understand. Actually, to make it even more interesting, not only does he not understand you, he even gets more confused because to the person it doesn't make sense. And this could be for various reasons, and there are so many um, example scenarios. For example, it could be that you come from a very well-off family, you people are not struggling financially, and then people notice that you kind of work so hard. It could be in your own personal business, for example. You work so hard in your own personal business, and the people around you are like, okay, why are you doing this? And you're telling them, I'm doing this because it's something I've always wanted to do. I'm doing this because I don't want to regret not trying. It could be due to any reason. And then they're looking at you and they're like, what? If people are doing so well, you don't really have to do so much. Dad will sort you anyway. Mom is always there. That's what they tell you, of course. And you're like, yeah, I know. I have a backup plan, but I want to do this. And they're like, oh, okay, um, good for you, good for you. Or it could be also you're from a good place and you're in school and you're studying extra hard, and your classmates are like, everybody knows that you guys are from this and this place and you have a certain name. Why are you working so hard in school? And you're like, I don't know, I just want to be the best. And I cannot take anything below my personal best. Once more, it could also be due to various reasons. And so the point is, you try to explain to these people why you're doing what you're doing, but it only makes them more confused. So yeah, I wonder if it's something you have ever experienced, and it really makes you realize that wow, I am actually alone in this. I'm actually alone on this path, and that's just the truth. And I think to some extent it will. I know for me does make somebody feel lonely because, at the end of the day, we are human beings. We are social. We are social like any other um, mammals, and we like having people around us, even for mental health. It's better to have people around you to push you, to guide you, to help you, than doing it alone. And so I cannot deny that even for me, every day I have this desire to just have people around me who understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. But every single day you realize that it's alone. It's a lonely path. You're going to be by yourself all through. You might have people maybe trying to cheer you on. You might have people trying to make sense of what you're doing. But at the end of the day, it's your own path. It's my own path, and there's nobody else who can come onto this path with me. And for my next thought, I came to realize that this not only happens to friends or maybe even strangers or acquaintances, it's something you notice happen even to the people, even with the people close to us, our close friends, our own families. You realize that these people really genuinely do love you. They genuinely do. And they genuinely want the best for you. But also cannot understand why you're doing what you're doing. Sometimes you can go at home and you're talking to the people at home and you tell them, I want to try this and that. And they're like, okay, that's nice. Why are you doing? Why are you trying? And you're like, I'm just trying because of this and that. And they're like, okay, we can't promise you that we know or we fully understand, but we will push you. We will push with you. We will help you the best way we can. And that's another major thing that I personally noticed, and I think most people watching this video will relate to. It's crazy. It's literally your own family. You could even be in a relationship and your own um, partner will try to push you. Will try to be like there to be there for you, but they can't really fully understand why you're doing what you're doing. And those are even the cases of people who have loving families and loving friends, people who have a healthy band of just other people around them. It gets worse for people who don't have that privilege. It gets much terrible for people who have no relationship with their own families, um, who don't have many genuine friends. And with all that said, you come to realize, and I'm going to say this in two parts, for how much you see yourself or the kind of lens you see yourself with will never be the same lens other people see you with. And sometimes you have to remember that most people will see you based on their own life experiences. And I'm not trying to say this on a them to me kind of way. It could also be me to others kind of way. I also have my own personal experiences which will affect how I see you or somebody else. And so, no matter how hard I try to understand the people around me, I can never really, truly, fully understand why they do what they're doing. And it doesn't mean that I have any ill will. It doesn't mean that I don't want to see them grow and become better people in all aspects of their personal lives. It's just we are different. We're just different, and it's okay. And that's applicable even to our own families. Because you can argue that for my brothers or sisters, we have gone through similar experiences in life. But if you really think about it, we are not really the exact same. we haven't really gone through the same um, life. We haven't. And so, again, they can try as much as um, they can to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, but they can never really, truly understand it. And so, it really sets into an individual, into me, that regardless of um, how I how much or whichever way I'm seeing myself can never be the same way other people see me. And even if you have close people who share the same life goals with you, you can never really truly share the same path. In short, it's a really solo path. It's a really solitary. Not sure if that's the best word, but yeah, it's a solitary path that I alone can take. Not me, not my wife, not my mom, not my sister, not anybody, not my best friend, not anybody. And so this this really makes this whole personal journey quite interesting. So this whole understanding brought me to a couple of really interesting conclusions. The first one is, one thing I came to realize is that since other people won't see life with the same lens you are, they might see what you're doing as delusional. And I had to tell myself, and I think everyone should, that at the end of the day, you have to be delusional. At the end of the day, you have to be a little bit crazy. At the end of the day, you need to have that childlike wonder, that um, intense, crazy um, desire to want more out of your life. And you don't owe anyone any explanation. You don't owe anyone any reason. You don't have to explain to anyone why you're doing what you're doing. Actually, who cares, man? At the end of the day, 1,000 years from now, we'll all turn to dust. And nobody is ever going to write or sketch that this and this people thought about you. It won't be something that's going to be taught in history schools 10,000 years from now. And so you have to do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. And this applies to everyone. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to explain yourself to your family, to your friends, to anybody. As long as you're trying to push every single day, all is going to be it's going to be well. And I guess that's the point. I believe you're doing what you're doing because you've sat down by yourself and realized I'm not. You may be okay with where you are, but you realize there's so much more you can do. Not even for yourself. There's so much more you can do for the world. There's so much more good you can do for other people, and that's your reason. And then on the flip side, which is a conclusion I'd really like to end with, you have to understand that at the end of the day, we all have these different life paths, and no life path is better. You have to stop. How can I say this? It's okay for people to live the lives they want to live. and you can't force other people to see things the way you see them, and you also can't have this, I don't know, bad pride, because pride is not bad. I don't think pride is bad, but you're kind of trying to tell yourself that your path is better than your friend's path. I think this should also be a reminder that we should be humble. Of course, um, you may try maybe to tell your friends or somebody else. You may try to tell them that maybe you should try doing this. Maybe you should um, try something. Try to be brave. Try to be courageous. Try to want more from life. I think it's okay to tell the people around you to try, but at the end of the day, I think everybody's trying to make sense of everything. I don't think anybody has life figured out. I don't think I would have life figured out even 60 years from now. I think I'm just trying, and I think we all are. We all are trying to make sense of of everything, and that's okay. So it's nobody who's better than anybody else. We're all just lost souls trying to make sense, and that's okay. That's amazing. I think that's one of the most beautiful aspects of being alive. And yeah, I think that's all for today. Once more, I'd be really curious to know your views. Um, in your life, what have you observed when you try to tell other people why you're doing what you're doing? Um, have you let it affect you? Have you let it change you? Have you seen people around you who have been so affected by what other people think about them? Are you proud of the decisions you have made uh, till the day you're watching this video? And do you feel you can do more? And all I can say is, even though it's a lonely path, I think I want to say that there are other people. We are all lonely. I think I'm lonely. And it's great to have each other every now and then, to remind each other that you're not alone. So, see you on the next one.